It's roughly 10 to 11 years I am inside the IT environment. My experience spans a little bit from e-commerce to software and from startups to big companies. I had the luck to have the experience in both these kinds of organization, and this evening my speech is going to be focused on product leadership and which are the key success factors that a product leader should take into account. Okay, Tony, I let you the word.
Yeah, hi everyone, I'm Tony. I'm from a small startup in Vietnam. So we run a ride-hailing company called BE App. So we are the second place right after Grab in Vietnam.
Chờ đây anh Tùng. Bây giờ
I had 10 years working in product, and now today I will talk a little bit about experience management for Vietnamese startup. Thank you for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you, Minh. Thank you for having me, Tony. And thank you, speaker. So I think leadership is very important skill, not only in product team, but it holds building it. But what is the key success behavior in product leadership? So we get let's think out now with Minh and Boris. Yeah. So now, yeah, Boris.
Yeah, it's okay. I will just get the host role so that I can share. Each one of us actually has a little presentation. So we're gonna share with you. And this is what we're gonna do, probably 20 minutes each, me and Minh, then a question and answer session. Then we take a break, and then we're gonna be together with Tony for his session as well. So just 1 second, let me get confirmation. I am the host now.
Yeah.
Okay. So Lom, you gotta pass me because it's you now, so you will need to pass me this role.
Yeah. So I just talked about the product leadership, and introduce you and Minh. So can you talk a little bit about the product leadership topic today?
Oh yeah, just please pass me the host role so I can share my because now you are the boss of the conversation, so you need to pass me the role so we can I can share my screen as well.
Yeah. Okay. So now, Boris, can you lead the host the meet up today about the topic, product leadership? Boris?
Yeah. Okay, but let's do like this because when you I need that in a role to share my my screen. 1 second.
Okay.
Because otherwise it's not gonna be effective.
Okay. Sorry. Okay.
Hai vé nhìn hai vé nhìn vậy má từ nãy giờ một quán chưa xong luôn. Má đánh vé 20 vé. Má 2 vé.
Can turn.
Anh đi xin nhanh lắm, một bài này.
Ben, can you help me to change the invite Boris to the host? Ben, can you help me?
Yeah, I can hear you. We got Benjamin behind the scenes. He's looking for that.
Ben?
Yeah. He's taking action. No worries.
Okay.
So I would just start a little bit in the meanwhile, so we can move on, and then in any case the presentation we can share it later. In any case, so it should be fine. Let's see if it's good. Share screen. No, I have it actually. So here we go. Let me know when you can see my screen, and I will start from there. It's okay? Okay, good. So here we are today. I want to share a little bit about product leadership. We're gonna talk. We have Lom, we have Minh, and we got me. We already introduced ourselves, so I don't think we're gonna spend too much on this side. It's just I want you to know that today we will, with Minh, we're gonna probably tackle the same subject but from two different points of view, and we hope that this complementarity is going to be helpful for you. So a little bit of summary of what I'm going to talk today. 6 points, okay? What is leadership? A brief overview. What is product leadership itself? Then the pillars of product leadership: owning the direction of a product, building your team, establish product organization and processes, and then a little note about like steering and drifting. So let's start with leadership. What is leadership? Usually we define leadership as being like the capacity of somebody to motivate people around, a group of people around, to all work together, all act together to achieve a common goal, okay? This can be applied anywhere, can be applied in sports, can be applied in business, can be applied in any field of human activities, okay? In a business, in this case, usually it is like the art, the capacity of inspiring all your team around you and make them work all together so that you can meet the company needs, okay? So this is broad indeed, but this is something that I esteem pretty much resumes the concept of leadership in itself. Now, leadership itself could be a sport, but we are here to talk products. We are here to talk actually digital products as much as we can. So I would move to the next one, which is what is product leadership? Okay, product leadership is slightly more complicated or more complex than just motivating people around you. Okay, it is you gotta take into account so many things. You have to get people around you in your team really feeling that you are the leader and that you are bringing up some value, that they can trust you and that they can follow you when you take a decision, okay? We're gonna also speak about how to enforce decision, but this one is gonna be more together with Minh, so I will leave it aside for the moment. So there are three big pillars basically about leadership. One is being able to own the product direction and make people feel like you really are the leader there. Two, building a team or building the team, because each product needs a different team. So you must be aware of what you need if you want to be able to create the right team around you. And three, which is a little bit most boring one, let's say, but necessary, absolutely necessary, is like establish an organization around you, establish processes, and establish an atmosphere where everybody knows how things have to be done. Okay, so now I'm gonna spend, I think I already got probably like let's see, couple of minutes on this. I've already been speaking for like, let's say 6 minutes. I'm gonna take probably 3 or 4 minutes per each one of these pillars and go a little bit more in depth so that we can see what are these actions, what are these key factors that make a good product leader in a digital environment. Okay, one moment, let me move to the next one. So here we go. The direction itself, it is just made of many components. Okay, first of all, in any case, you need a vision. The vision is not something concrete, it's something abstract. Okay, it's more like how you what's your aspiration, what do you want to provide to your customers, what you want your product to provide, really. But it doesn't necessarily have to be concrete, as I was saying, because actually it is more, that's more about strategy. Okay, so once you have a vision, you need to build, still need to build a strategy, because how will I provide this additional value? How is my product different from products of other people, for example? What is my business model? Things like this. Okay, all of this is part of strategy, and here it is really about focusing on how. So the strategy is not just like I want to go to the moon. The strategy is I will do this and this and this action to build this rocket, which is gonna bring me to the moon. So it's much more concrete. Okay, so one big difference when we think, sometimes vision and strategy are like mismatched. Okay, but it is important to keep in mind one important thing. The strategy, it is something that should be stable, at least for some months. Okay, you cannot change strategy every 5 minutes. So this is something we're gonna tackle together later in point number 6. But strategy is really how are we gonna win and what are we gonna do to win. Okay, so this is like what I think it's the most important to communicate. Then we got the roadmap. Okay, so the roadmap, sometimes it's also a tricky one. Why? Because sometimes we are asked, okay, in my role as well, I am asked, please build a roadmap. But the person, when I'm asked this, the person who's asking me is not asking me for a roadmap. He's asking me like, which feature are you gonna code in which week of the year? Okay, so that's not a roadmap. The roadmap is actually something more vague, more broad. It is more like, which subjects are we gonna tackle in which time of the year, but not in depth inside, like which feature and exactly where is the button and exactly when will this happen. The roadmap is not necessarily about that. It is more like to give a tool for your team to understand what we will do and how we're gonna do. Okay, once you got a vision and you got a strategy and you got a roadmap, it means that you're ready to get goals. Okay, there is no organization who can achieve anything if you don't set a goal, if you don't set a key result, if you don't set really an objective where all the team must focus is attention to. So this is actually extremely important, because if you don't put this in place, it's going to be very hard then to measure what's the progress of my product, what is the how was this team delivering. So that's what I believe is the most important, together with another concept. Setting a goal is not, once again, it is not like I decide to do something and we go. It's a negotiation process. Some things you will have to negotiate. Either could be with your sales, could be with your marketing team, could be with your developers, could be with your CEO, never mind, of course, that's also negotiation, of course. So this is important. Being able to set those objectives, because otherwise it's very easy to drift and then lose control of your product. So now we got a vision, we got a strategy, we got a roadmap, we know the goals. So far it's only us, okay? It's only us, it's only the product leader that knows all of this. So there is one key thing which is missing. It is tell it to your teams, tell it to your C-levels, tell it to anybody around you which is involved in a product, because I see that in my experience is like, of course, in my head, everything makes sense. And I believe that everybody is already aware of what I'm thinking. No, not at all. This is not the case. So your team, your organization, it doesn't matter if it is a 10,000 employees or a three developers team. Your team needs to know. They need to be reminded that decisions are being taken, and they need to be reminded that this decision you're taking for the product, for the sake of the product, or for the sake of the customer, or for the sake of the progress, in any case, of your organization, of your team, and of your product. And okay, so now quickly about principles, because yeah, you might want to set some principles actually in your organization. Let's be clear. Principles, it's not about like a best practice, a best UI practice or something like that. Principles is something which is proper to you, to your vision, and it's like a way for you to put your vision into action. Okay, it is really important that you keep this in mind. It is one of the tools. It's not needed, but it's still a good idea to apply this kind of products. So now you got everything. You got your vision, you got strategy, you got the roadmaps, goals. Your team knows about. Your team has principles to follow. So now do you think it's done? No, it's not done at all, actually, because the product leader must continue to provide guidance. Okay, it's not like sometimes you know, product leader could be just the CEO in a small company, could be the CEO, but or could be some kind of CPO who has lots of product owners under him. But guidance, it's not like, okay, we decided to do this, see you back in 3 months at the end of the deadline. Okay, it is like continuous feedback. It is taking these kind of steps and talk to each other and exchange on it. So the absence of guidance in this, for example, when you launch a product, the absence of guidance can be extremely harmful. And it is absolutely important that as product leaders, you feel you are totally committed to the product, and you can really share lots of insights. You can comment without necessarily influencing your team. Okay, leave your team decide how they get to the path, how they get to the objective. Sorry, but keep an eye on them. Always keep an eye, because this is important. So okay, we have been going through all the pillars of the product direction. Now it's the time for our team. So the team, actually, yeah, it's building the team. It's not as cool as the previous steps. Okay, you're not talking about vision, we're not talking about strategy, we are not having high level speeches or things like that. We are back to the ground, and you gotta hire. So I don't want to talk about the hiring process. I don't think it's necessary. Everybody hires people as they want. So this is not at all the problem. So it is building the team. So what is the team? because it depends. It depends on the companies. A team usually, let's say, it can be made only just maybe a PO, a designer, somebody who makes UX research, and in a big company that might be enough because developers are part of another team. Okay, in small entities, like for the startup I'm working in, it's no, we are all together, and the product, we have no filter. So the CPO and the CTO have absolutely no filter. But when it comes the time of hiring, everybody must be in there, and the product leader especially. Why I'm saying this? Because often depends from culture to culture. Some cultures is more of a decision, a team decision. In some cultures, it's not. It happened to me that I had interviews where I was interviewed by the team. So the team took me before I was taken from team leader. That's good. That's a very good practice, because even the PO, if you are hiring a new PO, you should ask your designer to have an interview. You should ask your developers to have an interview. It doesn't mean that they're gonna check how good it is, the PO is at coding Java or whatever. It's useless. But they will be able to understand if it's somebody who can really contribute to the team. And this is key, having a feeling of your team, okay, around you, and getting like a common sense that, yeah, this guy is the good one, okay? So now you hired the good guy, cool. What do? Do you just throw him in or her into the swimming pool and you say like swim? It's a person that doesn't know exactly what the processes are, doesn't know how things are made, doesn't know. For a developer, he has no idea of the code or whatever convention we've been implementing in the past. So it is very important as a product leader. In this case, it's going to be, for me, it is in my, as a PO, or it can be like, it can be the CEO in small companies, can be the head of department in other ones, but it's really important. Spend some time to onboard your members, your new team members, because that's the best investment you're doing. You are teaching them, and the more time you actually spend to teach them and to give them the context and to transfer the direction, the product direction that you've been, like your vision, your strategy, all of this, it's important, because otherwise you risk to have good elements that get inside your organization but are left alone, and it's gonna either take lots of time before they get in and they are performant, or they're just not gonna stick with it, and they're gonna leave. Okay, developing these team members, you hired, you onboarded, you have now somebody who is good, who you think it's good. Okay, this person, there is one thing that it's never said. Okay, in working environments, it's hardly said, but must be clear. I am the new employee. I already passed my trial. What does my team expect from me? So expectation must be clear, okay? Must be extremely clear, because it's very good for the team to know what to check. It's very good for the new member to know, okay, this is where I gotta focus, this is where I gotta deliver, this is where my contribution is gonna be important, okay? So of course, once you have stated these objectives, then you can start discussing about developing. So maybe have a chat with this new member, or member which is member since a few time in this case, propose a new project, understand what this employee wants, what is his interests. If he is a developer, is there something particular? Is that a code you need a new code you need to learn, he needs to learn for a new project or something like that? That's important, okay? That's absolutely important. And your employees are in immersion inside the culture, the company culture. Now, not all the companies have a culture. Some companies have, and it's good. Some companies have, and it's sometimes too rough. The product, it is in immersion inside this box, okay? So a product leader will never be able to change radically the culture of an entire company, but it will sure be able to create a team culture. So as far as if you are a product leader and you are able to change or establish a team culture, that's already very good. Don't no need to try to change the world. Make sure that everybody is make it important. Two things: make your team be owner of things, be responsible for these things. The more you charge people with a reasonable amount of responsibilities, the best it is. So this is absolutely important, and I believe it's hardest to achieve, but still a very good practice, and something that every product leader should be able to take into account and to apply in his everyday working day. Let's move to organization. Okay, you have a vision, you have a strategy, you have everything. You hired your all the dream team that you wanted. Okay, but yeah, okay, we have to still to create some kind of reports. How do you measure? How do you how does people relate to each other? Okay, this is like one of the complicated things. If you are inside a linear organization, okay, a linear way to report, it's easy. A developer reports to the CTO. Stop. Junior designer reports to the head of design. The assistant PO reports to the CPO or to the PO and so on. Okay, but we are talking about products, so usually a product team is not like that. Okay, it's not linear like this. It is a mix. It is a cross-functional team. So how do you make sure actually that, like, how do you organize this team? How long this team is supposed to exist? Because maybe you are creating a small product, or you are creating a product inside your product. So yeah, this is how big is it? What's the objective? Once the objective is achieved, are we gonna keep this this team? Are we gonna dismantle it and redispatch to other teams? Well, this is actually the truth. It's the work of the product leader. Okay, never mind what's the title. Can be CEO, can be CPO, can be. That's the job of a product leader, making sure that these things are known and are stated and that everybody knows about. Okay, then we got the product life cycle, of course. So this is fundamental, because whatever it takes, you will still have to research, design, develop, manage the delivery, debug, listen to your customers. So yeah, all of this process of really life cycle management itself, it's important. It's extremely important, and depends on how big your organization is, but it's something where if you are a product leader, if you feel that this is exactly the mission you are on, then it's absolutely fundamental that you follow these or everything what happens. It doesn't mean that you must stick your nose in every single thing, but it is important that you do manage your product life cycle. Okay, then we got the direction. Direction is actually ensure product direction. It sounds like a very cool thing. It's more like good practices. Okay, it is, for example, how are tasks managed inside my product team. Okay, I am personally like super fan of Atlassian Jira. For me, only Jira exists, and Confluence for the documentation. So how are tasks managed? How is the products designed? Okay, the tools, even just the tools are part of the job of a product leader. Decide, okay, I want my designers to use Sketch for mockups, and then put that into InVision, and then share with the product owner. All of this is important. It doesn't mean that you must know how Sketch works and how InVision works and now all of this works, but you must be inside. You must know. You must at least understand and help to shape these procedures. Okay, and enforce because I see this every day. Okay, every day in my job, there are so many opportunities to take. Let's say take a requirement without writing it down. Fix a bug without logging it. Are small things, but do this 10 times a day for 1 year, and you're gonna find yourself in a mess. Okay, so it's something that you really must take into account. It is important as product leader to manage also the tools, decide the tools, understand, and try. Talk with your team, of course, and choose the best tool that you need for that product. Your team can help you. Okay, it's really important. And last thing, the processes that until here you think, but we have strategy, we have tools, we have principles, we have everything. So why I should like create another process? Why should I add this additional layer? Because not only your team exists. Okay, you will have to deal with sales. You will have to deal with customer support. You will have to deal with all those like negative problems, like small issues of every day. How much time do I allocate to bug fixing? Because my team cannot run 100% on development. I must keep a buffer, for example, for fixing bugs or something like that. How can talk with the CTO? How can we reduce the technical debt? How can we improve the technical stack? How can we improve the infrastructure if you are using like servers, and like if you're managing your servers and so on? This is really important. Okay, so keep in mind you're not alone. You are managing a cross-functional team, and on top of that, you have cross-team relations. So this is important to remember always, because the way you deal with sales is not the same way you deal with your team. For sales, for example, in my experience, you have to set a much more strict process. Okay, because otherwise you're gonna put the product in the hands of sales, and once this happens, then it's very quick to drift out and get like really in trouble. Okay, this was my actual introduction to the last point that I wanted to share with you, to discuss with you, and is, wait, let me move on. It is steering versus drifting leadership. Okay, so as you can see, these two images, of course the right one looks cool, huh? It looks very cool. Yeah, I'm drifting. It's cool. I got control over this car. I can do whatever I want with this car. False. A drifting car needs a special setup to drift like that. And if you want to put it on the highway, it's just not going to work. So you gotta steer. Steering is important because your organization is slow. is really slow to change. You think you change something today, that's gonna happen in 2 months. So imagine what happens if you keep on changing direction suddenly every week, the structure of your team is gonna very quickly collapse. So it's steering, which is like the message I want you to understand. It is you're gonna change strategy. It's fine. You should not do that more than like maybe once every 6 months, but you're gonna change strategy. It's okay. Don't just make it like a top down. Call up your team, discuss, talk with them, share with them, tell them this and this changed. So as a leader, I'm here to tell you how things changed and how we're gonna react to this and what we're going to change in our organization so that we reach this new objective, okay? It is extremely important. Too often we got this practice of just drifting. No, okay, this morning I woke up and I had a different idea, so I'm gonna take all of my team and shift it on something totally different, which can't be achieved in the given time. So basically, just keep on losing time. So that's not fine. Okay, and yes, this is an image that I would really like you to share. So on my side, it was everything. I might have taken a little bit more time than expected. Sorry, Minh. And thank you, everybody, and take care.
Yeah,
So
thanks, Boris.
we pass role to Minh.
Yeah,
Okay, good.
Thanks, Boris. And Minh, can you tell a little bit about what your opinion about the product leadership?
And hello everyone. Please, Long, can you show my presentation?
Okay. Boris, can you change the host to Minh so he can turn the.
1 second. Benjamin is shifting that ownership. So
okay.
as soon as it's passed, you just gotta share your screen.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. 1 second.
Yes, I have the right. Until now, I have the right to share my screen. And yes, do you see my screen? Hello everyone. Do you see my screen yet?
Yes, it's good.
Okay, that's great.
I can see you.
So thank you very much, Boris, for talking about leadership in product management. And I would like to add some point in my point of view as I work a lot with students and newbie, or we can say fresh graduate. So I have several shares. I have some things to share about this topic. First, as we have many kinds of leadership definitions online, but especially for leadership in management, I found that this definitions fit very much the needs of leadership in product management. Leadership is a process whereby an individual can influence a group of individuals to achieve common goals. It's very similar to of that storage journey. And it means leadership is not something that someone that you command people to do something. Activity that you need to
như thế nào?
People.
Em họ em thêm
People to contribute to the common goals of the whole company.
Mình đang làm gì đấy?
For me,
nhưng mà năm cái thằng sử này năm văn bản khác nhau nên đang phải chỉnh lại sao cho
Hà Lê and Phạm, can you mute your mic?
first you need to have two main skills. First, you have to take right decisions, not right decisions. It cannot be best decisions, but it's the right decision in the right time. And second, you need to inspire people, and to inspire people, you need to have a really good communication skills, and also you need to have a really great HR management skills. So why we have to do that? You see that as a leader, you have to talk to C-level or investor to convince them for new projects, or to convince them to change an idea or a project into another way. And you, as a product managers, need to talk to the developers to convince them to follow your ideas or to follow your solutions. And you also need to talk to sales and marketers to give them information for selling or for doing PR or communications to the audience or the customer. And the last one, you need to work with the legal team to make your products legal, because usually product management, especially in IT, you are a pioneer in a new field, and the law is not yet ready for you to allow you to have that products on the market. For example, there's many dispute on Grab eligibility in Vietnam market as a circulation service or as a digital contract service. So it means that the legal firm is not yet ready for your product, and you need to talk and you need to be very careful with legal problems, especially in Vietnam, and you need to have a good communications with legal team, and to have very effective communications with these kind of people. What should we do? For example, for C-level, we need to pay attention for every kind of I should go back, for every kind of audience that you have to talk, C-level, dev, their marketers or legal. You need to know their interest and their concern, and to know that you need to have a really good analyzing skills to know what are the interests and what are the concern. For example, for C-level, the interest is about financial benefits or the opportunity to get an upscale activity or to build a brand name of the company. And in contrary, the concerns is about financial risk. It means that they lost money. The HR problem. Do you have enough people to do such a thing or to run that project, or do we need to hire some more, or do we need to outsourcing several activities, something like that? Because all of these things relate to money, and they are concerned about that, and you need to convince them by your solutions. And one important point of their concern is that the new ideas or the new projects or the new solutions is that conflict. Does that conflict with the core value of the company, or is that conflicts with the core value of them? So it's their concern, and you need to know, you need to detect their concern first, and you need to find a right, I'd say a right, you need to find right arguments to convince them to follow your ideas. And second thing, you need to convince developers to follow your ideas or your solutions. And the first interest is algorithm. How can they do the algorithm? How can they create the algorithm based on your ideas or solution? It's the interest. You need to guide them for some times, or you need to hear them to find that your ideas your algorithm is better, or their algorithm is better, because sometimes we have a really good dev in team, and they are great in writing algorithms, something like that, and because they are the person who code. So it's better to get them to, how to say, it's better to get them to be familiar with the algorithm that you are using, something like that. So this is the interest. And as I have many friends in IT, their concern is usually time, because they need time to code, and usually they need time to debug also. So their concern is usually time. So you need to arrange a suitable and comfortable time for them to fulfill their job or to complete their job. And another point is legal. What we need to discuss with legal about new solutions. If you can match with the core values of the company, it means that the value that you declare the value in the value that you declare. It means that, how to say, when you register a company, you have value, you have the feel that you work, something like that. You need to declare to not only the government but also the society. And when you declare that, the interest is that your idea will match core values of the company. And their concern is that the legibility of the problems is that yet legal in Vietnam, or do we need to convince more people to make it legal in Vietnam, or do we need to um, be an activist to pass a new law or a new authorizations about something? So we need to pay attention on that, and this is their concern. And you need to find arguments or solutions or some suggestions to help them overcome the problem, and to help them to see that your project is, how to say, tangible. Your project is tangible, and your project is feasible for them and for the whole company. And the last team is sales and marketers. The interest is, of course, the sellability. It means that you need to give them enough information to help them convince the customer or the consumers, and they would like to know about details of the products, because it helps them to have the policies, the right policy for each kind of different products, and about the incentive. They would like to know more about incentive for their workforce, for their contributions, and also they need to know not only the details of they need to know not only the details of your products, but also the details of the competitors, so they can create content and they can create the right policy, the right campaign and the right strategy for your products. And the concern is about marketing activities, how much money they can use the budget for marketing, and also the market size. Is that the market size good enough, or is the market size visual for them, or is the market size is so difficult to reach, or something like that. So this is something that they are concerned. And the last things they're concerned about is legal issue. So you need the discussions not only with sales, but also with legal team. You need to work together to have something in common, to figure out what to do in common. So this is the way that you need to think about their interest and their concern by your ideas, and um, you need to think about the interests and their concerns based on your solutions or your ideas, and then you need to talk to them. You need to have a good verbal communication skills to talk to them, to convince them, and to solve off all of their concern to make your ideas become feasible for them. So I know that this is easy to say, but it's not very easy to do, because communication skills, especially verbal communication skills, is something that we need to practice, and we need more practice on that. And it's not only something that you can take a process to gain the skills. You need to practice and practice. And a very good way to practice verbal communications is that you have a great vocabulary. And to have a great vocabulary, you need to read. That's the only way to have a great vocabulary. And it means that when you have a great vocabulary, you know which word you will use for each kind of a different audience, like C-level or sales marketers, and it gives you more opportunities to convince them to follow you and follow your ideas. And the last point I would like to insist during that communications, during that webinar, is that it's a told you that first things for leaders that when you work in product management, first things that leaders need is communications, especially verbal communications, and skills that you can detect the interest and the concerns of different audience. And based on that, this is special for product management. And for leadership, overall leadership, you need, I think that a good leaders need integrity. It means that you have your core value is great and is good for the whole society or for the community that you are serving. Uh, for example, you have a community of customer or consumer, and things that you want to, your core value is that to serve them, to make their life better or their daily life better, something like that. And one important thing is that you need to have the integrity to make everything legal, because if you do something, it's not yet illegal, but it's not legal. It can cause many problems in the future. So integrity in that case, there's also the legal problems, the legal, how to say, the willingness to be legal in that case of integrity. And the other things is that you need to have good job distribution skills. It means that you have to give the right job to the right people, because when you can detect what they like to do and you can give them exactly what they like to do, they will do it very well and very effective. So this is very important skills, not only in this part of product management, but for all kind of leaderships and service and educations, in productions, in arts, and also in IT, for example. And here, the last one, you need to have a quick and good decisions. It's told you that a good decisions may not be best decisions, but it's good at that time, and it's optimal decisions at that time in by taking into account the real situations, the social situations, and also the, how to say, the risk that you accept to take that, the risk that you accept during that time, that specific time. So that's I call good decisions. And this is the leadership that I think necessary, is very good for product management and leadership. When we want to have a leadership skills, we need a base. And I work in education for a long time. I define the base for leadership by just three things. First, you have to have critical thinking. It means that you have to think and to think at every single things that happen to you, not only in your job but also in your daily life. For example, in the morning the stock market goes down, and we don't know. We need to have critical thinking why it goes down, and we need to read several analyses, and we need to have critical thinking on the analysis too, because for example, the analysis is very right or the analysis is very left. So we need critical thinking on this kind of analysis just to know why the stock market goes down, something like that. And to have critical thinking, you need two important things. First, deep professional knowledge in your field. For example, when you are in the field of product management in IT, you need to have deep knowledge in IT. And the second thing is wide general knowledge, because when you work in IT, the problem just not happen only in IT, but it's also in economics, in pandemic. For example, until these days, we have a COVID-19 is a pandemic, and it's related to not only economics but also social society, the social problems and many things around. So we need a wide general knowledge, so it can help you to predict what happened next to the society, and based on that you can make a good decisions, or you can make a good decisions, or you can have new ideas for your company, and then based on your deep professional knowledge you can make that ideas come true. So it means that I would like to insist here during that webinar that leadership needs a base, and that base uh, that base is built by knowledge, deep professional knowledge, wide general knowledge, and to well use the knowledge, you need to have critical skills, thinking skills, and this is my ideas about the leadership, especially in product management. Thank you very much for your attention.
Yeah, thanks, Minh for the sharing. So I have a quick question for you, Boris and Minh, about the quick question. So about this topic. So for those, so why does product team need a product leadership? Can you hear me?
I mean, I could not hear perfectly.
I have a quick question for Minh, for you, Minh and Boris. So why product team needs product leadership? Why?
Minh, you wanna go? I go, as you prefer.
Boris, so you can go first.
Okay, I will just
Okay.
why it means leadership, because it's a team. Because it is a team, and any team without a leader is not a team. It's just a group of people together. So you can hire 50 developers, put them into a room, and let them do whatever they want. That's not a leader. That's not a team. That's just a group of people. So if they don't have a leader, having a leader is what makes your team speed up by, let's say, 50% at least. So that's the importance. Okay, I myself, I work in a very small structure. We got a very good team welded together. We are not many, we have less than 10, but yeah, we were able to do great things. and we were able to work all together, focus to achieve the same goal. And that's leadership. That's leadership. When your team puts all the energies to achieve one goal, I'm saying one. I'm not saying you're giving them 115 priorities and then you leave them like deep in shit, not being able to cope with it. I mean, you are the leader, you take ownership of the problems that come, you select one and you ask your team, you convince your team to commit, and that problem is going to be solved. That's sure fact. But that's why I think it's because it just increases the speed and the effectiveness and the quality and the atmosphere. So that's to me the importance of a leader inside a product.
I would like to add some point for the answer of Boris. Yes, a team needs a leader for sure, and it it needs to be the right leaders because every kind of team and every kind of activity is really is different and specific and unique. So we need the right leadership skills for that leaders, and especially in product management, as I told you that the right skills is that you can take the right decisions at and the good decisions at on time. It's mean that on time at the right time. For example, leadership skills and service. It's more HR. It's more HR major than to take decisions because in service, the problem in service is really different from the problem in IT product management. So the kind of leadership is different, and especially here when we do IT and product management, the, the right decision skills is really important, I think. And after that, we need the communications, the communication skills. Communication skills take the second one, take the second part. And for example, contrary in hospitality, communication skills take the first part, take the first place, something like that. So I would like to add these informations to the Boris answer.
Absolutely agree. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Minh and Boris. It's a great topic. And for the next topic, we have a deep insight about developed products in Vietnam, whose topic experience management for Vietnamese startups, with sharing from Ms. Tony Lê, Head of UX and UI of D. Please, Tony Lê. Tony Lê? Okay.
Okay, do you see my screen now?
Yeah, I can see your screen.
Yeah. Okay, today we'll talk about experience management for Vietnamese startup. I know the title and the topic is very broad, but maybe we can focus on the some common term, maybe customer experience or user experience. Experience management can apply for a lot of experience things, maybe customer experience, user experience, partner experience, and maybe employee experience. So let's see. Before we start, I will tell you two true stories from my previous company and my current company. Okay, so the first story is about Haravan. Haravan, I worked at Haravan 4 years ago. For your information, Haravan is a software as a service that allow people to create online website that selling product. It looks like a Shopify clone in Vietnam. So Haravan is one of the biggest site in this market. 4 years ago, I was head of product at Haravan. When I joined Haravan, one of the first thing I do is to conduct the NPS. So what is the NPS? NPS is the short for Net Promoter Score. Net Promoter Score in this screen is present how Net Promoter Score is calculated. We can ask the people or the current customer a question: how likely we refer your friend or your family to use this product, and the customer can answer in a scale from 0 to 10. When the customer answer from 0 to 6, they are called detractor. From the 7 and 8, they call passive, and the 9 and 10 they call promoter. Detractor are customer that they experience bad thing from that product, from that service, and they don't want to refer friend, and you want to go with your product in the future. And the promoter, they are the supporter of your product because they experience good thing about your product. And the Net Promoter Score is calculated by the percentage of promoter subtract the percentage of detractor. So for a good product, Net Promoter Score must be positive. And then when I conduct the survey with more than 400 Haravan current customer, the NPS came at 18.4 minus. You know that it's very dangerous for Haravan business, because sales team is trying to acquire a lot of customer, and then there no retention on the customer. They don't want to use the service because the service is very bad. The service doesn't meet their demand, and they don't want to go with Haravan in the future. So from the survey, I conduct the NPS survey. I added two follow-up questions. The two follow-up questions are the first question: what do you like most at Haravan? And the second question: what is the most painful thing at Haravan? So the two follow-up questions give me a lot of insight about the customer experience, what they are suffering, what they are thinking about us, what they are using us. They contribute a lot of things that we can improve our system. And I short all the painful things, and the most common complaint is about the customer support. The customer support is very late response, because you know that they are building a website. They are not quite smart at technologies, and they need customer support a lot to configure their website, to help them to improve their online business. But our customer support can do that at that time. So I talked to Haravan CEO, Mr. Ho, about this problem. And in the next 2 months, we double the CS headcount. Then after 2 months, I reconducted another NPS survey with more than 300 Haravan current customer. And at that time, and the NPS reached at 3.6 minus. But you know that is an improvement from Haravan, and Mr. Ho, the Haravan CEO, is very happy for that improvement. We know that we still have a lot of room to improve our number, but either successful thing that we are that we know that our business is going in the right way. Okay. That's the first story about Havan NPS. And the second is story about our my current company right now, B Group. B Group is a ride-hailing company like Grab, like Uber, like Ola or Didi. We run ride-hailing business. So what do we do? What do we monitor the experience? So we have telesurvey. We have telesurvey from in our company. We have a department called customer experience. So what do they do? What do they do? They do telesale every week to our customer randomly, and they ask a lot of questions to the customer. And on this screen, it is two of that question. Two of those questions from the customer. We record with a with a sample of a few hundred customer, and you know that is a chart of the satisfaction. The first, the above chart is about the app satisfaction. It's about maybe it's around 90%. 90% people are satisfied with our app, and the below chart is about the usability, about the how the customer perceive that our app is easy to understand, easy to use, and the number is about 94, 95%. So we do telesurvey every week. So besides the chart, besides the benchmarking, we ask a lot of questions from the customer, that what they are suffering, what they are perceiving about our service, or about about our app, and they give us a lot of feedback about laggy app or something like that, about wrong GPS, about wrong routing, about that, a lot of things, a lot of issues that we can capture a lot of issue from the customer, and then we implement change gradually to solve customer issue. Because we are a young company, we like up engineering, we have a lot of issue, but we have to solve it gradually. You can solve all the problem in one day, so you can change it, reprioritize the big impact issue, and then solve it first. So about two stories. I have told you about my story experience with the customer experience with our app. So it means that experience can do at company level, but for startup, what should we do? So I have joined some startup in Vietnam, and I know that they are limited of resources to conduct fancy method testing. You know, in the market they say a lot of buzzwords like A/B testing, eye tracking, or something like that. You know that is very costly. A/B testing is costly. So for small startup, it's hard for them to approach in that way. So another point is in Vietnam, there are not many specialists that help company to improve experience. So we need a lean and a scalable way to bring experience management to daily life with limited resources. That's my challenge about that. Okay, so after a few years working with user experience, with customer experience, and product management. So I dropped this framework. So this framework has 4 columns. The first column is about the metric benchmark. The second column is about pain and gain. So the third column is about the change request, and the fourth column is about the change monitoring. So let's see with Havan and B. So at B, we are at metric benchmark. We can do customer satisfaction from CI weekly report. We have app satisfaction from CI weekly report. We have app ease of use. At CI weekly report, we have cross-related report. Cross-related is something like you can know that the percentage of device that be crashed when using your app. And then we from the pain and gain, what is the metric benchmark? What is metric benchmark? Metric benchmark will tell you the direction, will tell you current situation. That's it's just a number that tell you. It, maybe in FB we don't use Net Promoter Score, but in Havan the metric benchmark for Havan is not Net Promoter Score. The metric benchmark tell you the current situation. You can implement a lot of changes, a lot of things, and you don't know what it affects your customer, what it affects your experience. So metric benchmark it's a thing. You can pick maybe 1 or 2 or 3 metric that that represent the customer experience, the experience in general. So you can improve it gradually. The second is the pain and gain. Pain and gain is something you collect feedback from the customer, from the partner, from everybody about your product, your service. We can have a lot of source to do that. In FB, we have CI weekly report to do that. We have customer app analytics from cross-related of Firebase. We have App Store review. When the customer experience bad thing, they can go to App Store and review 1 star for our app. So we get we capture from that to know what's going on and to improve our service, our system. We conduct UX research. We conduct customer support report. A lot of people that have trouble with our service, they call to our hotline and tell the hotline about the problem. So our CS team had a report weekly about on the issue that customer had, and then our product team take it and solve gradually. Another source from pain and gain is about social network. We have when the customer they experience bad thing, they go on Facebook and they post it and they share it to their friends. So we can monitor it to improve the experience. From the driver side, we have driver community. So on the driver post their experience, their bad thing about B to that community, and we can monitor it to improve it in the future. And then from the pain and gain, we make some change requests. Change requests at B are storing a feature by log and UI UX improvement. So we report it. We report it in the by log. We put it in Jira to monitor it and to make some change about it. When the from the team, they from product team, they take the by log and working with engineering team to deliver the feature, deliver and then we monitor that. We monitor that to know that the improvement. Monitor to whether that feature that solve the customer experience or solve customer problem. Yeah. At Havan is very simple. Havan is much more smaller company, much smaller company, and you know that we have limited resource. So the metric benchmark is Net Promoter Score only, and the pain and gain we know from follow-up question on Havan, from follow-up question on the NPS survey. The change required I submit directly to CEO. Some are required I submit to the engineering team, but most of them is based on it's not about our product, it's not about our service. So I submit directly to CEO, and I monitoring change by taking another NPS survey after a few months. So you can apply that framework from your company. If your company is a startup, you just think about one metric benchmark. That one metric that represents your experience, maybe customer experience, the user experience. Metric benchmark for customer experience. For customer experience, maybe Net Promoter Score, maybe the retention rate, maybe the customer satisfaction rate, maybe a lot of things that can represent the customer experience. For the partner, you can do at the same with the same thing. Can for we have driver, because for ride hailing you have customer and we have driver. For driver we have driver engagement, driver retention, and driver satisfaction. That's also another metric benchmark. For the pain and gain, you have you have to monitor a lot of sources to collect feedback from customer, feedback from partner, feedback from everyone, and then you can prioritize that, you can classify that, and then put it in change request. Then when the changes are made, you have to monitor that change. Usually, these changes affect the metric benchmark, and you know that you are changing in the right way or in the wrong way. This is an example of our flow at B. We can let's see. You can see in the two box. You can we have one box in the above box is about the pain. The pain. The customer says about buggy app, about unresponsive customer service. The customer called the hotline and no one answer. And and another pain is unsatisfactory driver attitude and behavior. That's on the pain we collect from customer, we collect from CS, we collect from customer experience team. And again it what the customer want more from us, expect more from us. Be customer, they want to book trip for other people. They don't want to book for them, but they want to book for other people, and they want schedule booking. Imagine that tomorrow you have to go to the airport soon at the early morning, and you have and you want a driver to accept at that time. So you have to schedule booking from today. Not only main booking, but you can booking from tonight, and you go at tomorrow early morning. And then we collect from a lot of source in the right is some source of information, source of feedback that we collect from the customer. and the change request, the process of change request. We have a lot of feedback, a lot of from pain and gain, and we work with business team, from customer support, from the business unit, they experience the product to the service to, and they have some feedback about our app, our service. Then if someone if the pain related to business team, so we submit the change request to business unit. If the request if the pain and gain is related to our app or our feature or the system technology, we submit our product owner pick that backlog, pick that issue and transfer it to backlog to Jira ticket, and then UI team when draft the screen to we can conduct internal usability testing before finalize the solution, and then pushing to engineering team to develop that feature. That our process right now. And then the customer monitor change. We can what we had around 5 million users right now. So we every change cost a lot of impact. So we have whitelist feature. Whitelist feature we can add some subset of customer to test new features, and we monitor that change maybe in positive or negative. If the experience the improvement positive, we can turn it on to own customer. That's okay. That's all. That's I have experience. I have talking about the customer experience, and you can apply and the framework that you can manage the experience. Then this framework may be applied for partner, maybe applied for employee also, and you can use this framework to work with your company, because it's very cheap to do that. It's very it brings a lot of impact, like the Harvard story I told you. We can we improve 5G. We improve 15% of NPS in just 2 months. That very I think is very big impact for one company. The problem is also right somewhere in your service, somewhere in your product. If you know that, you will find a way to solve it, to improve the customer and the experience, user experience, or partner experience, and so. Okay, that's all my presentation. Thank you for listening.
Yeah, thank you, Tony. And for the quick questions, before we next for the Q&A. So Tony, can you tell me some keywords for anyone, mostly a startup founder in early stage, when they want to get experience management for their product? For some keywords. Do you understand?
Sorry, I don't got your point.
Yeah. I mean, can you give an advice for some startup founders in early stage, for maybe some keywords, like advice for some keywords that if they want, that he or they want to build to get the best experience management for their product at early stage.
Okay, so I think it's not a keyword, but I think for the for early startup,
Yeah.
you should focus on your customer. You should talking to your customer more usual, because that a lot of feedback from customers. They if you don't ask them, they don't tell you. So try a lot of way to reach them, to approach them, to talk to them, to collect feedback from them, and then you can improve the service.
Yeah. That's thank you for this. So we will prepare questions for speaker. So if anyone here can a question, feel free to ask. So you can turn on the video. You can turn on the video and ask the question, or you can keep the question into the inbox the message. So we can read it to you. So maybe we can wait for maybe 1 minute to anyone can have a question. Yeah.
Yeah. In the meanwhile, I will ask a question. So while people thinks about questions for for us, I would have one question for Tony, which is it's more about like the release management. Okay, as we actually I think what you do day by day is quite close to what I do, but your activity impacts much more people. Okay, you got 5 million users.
Yeah.
So when you plan this release, okay, it's really because I'm curious to know. I'm asking, how long planning in advance does it usually take to inform CX team, to inform all the people involved and so on, to be ready for release? Usually it's just because I want to know, like I want to understand like how complicated it is when you deal with million customers.
Okay, from our customer experience team, we do a weekly report. Whether we have changed or not, they always do every week. So when we release a new feature, we release a new feature. We have before we release feature, we have a kick-off meeting with on stakeholder, on related party, from from customer support, from the accounting department, from customer experience team, from operation team, to for them to get to know about our release. And we have to everyone on the same page about what we release in the next sprint. Then so we don't have any trouble in communication right now.
Okay, yeah, so it might just take a little longer to talk all together and agree everybody, but then it's fine, basically.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
Okay, so
any other question? Questions can be asked in Vietnamese. It's no problem at all.
Yeah.
Sure.
So
we got one. We got one. I think that's good for.
No, so I should say, so because we are here, so many Vietnamese here, so people can have a question in Vietnamese. So me and Long and Benjamin can translate it in English. No problem.
We have a question on the chat. So I think that one is for Tony. How do we define the metrics that can represent the problems we try to solve? I guess that's straight to you.
Yes, so the metric that represents the problem to solve. Okay, so it depends on the problem. If the problem is about the crash rate of the crash rate of our app. So we will closely to monitor that. The metric is about the crash rate, percentage of crash device, percentage of crash when they use our app. It depends. If the problem is related to our service, our customer support, we have some other metric to monitor that. And if the problem related to the usability of our app, so we have easy of use metric to monitor that.
Yeah, so know your problem first and identify that, and then the rest will naturally come.
Yeah.
We got another question in, but it's Vietnamese, so sorry, my Vietnamese skills are very poor. I'm gonna pass to you. We will make a we're gonna make maybe one webinar only on that subject of hiring. So I think that they can be tackled in another webinar where we only discuss about hiring and how to build the team again, and then we're gonna see if it's a fit. If you are a good fit, yes, then we can discuss about. I don't know the Vietnamese question. If somebody can reply that, I just don't know. My Vietnamese skills are very poor indeed. In the chat there is one, and Lom, I think you're you're muted. I got one.
Okay. I just it's the message for me. It's I just I tell everyone that yeah.
That's how poor my Vietnamese skills are.
No problem. So if anyone has a question for Tony and for Minh and Boris, you can say about that. Oh, no question. How do you feel so when a conflict between the members? So it is maybe.
I think sorry. I think this question is direct to Minh because it can be very linked with the leadership. How do you resolve when they are conflicting between members?
Yeah, that's me.
How do you resolve when there's conflicting between members? That's a great question that I received not only here, but in many kind of discussions. How to say? It depends a lot on the nature of the conflict. It's if it's a conflict about the solution for a problem for something, it means that you having a problem and two people suggest two different solutions. I can say it's the easiest way. You can try to, in that case, communication skills is how to say, crucial. In that case, communication skills is crucial. You will try to convince, you will check on these two solutions, and you will find maybe a common solution or a better solutions. And in that way, you need to convince them that the new solution created by you, it can be an extremely new solution or a combining solution between two of them. And you need to convince them that your solutions is not better than, is more suitable than their solution. And in that case, you can, how to say, balance you can balance the conflict between them. And if it's a direct conflict, it means that a direct conflict, it means that they don't like each other and they create chaos to attack each other. It's a different problem. And in this case, you need to be very objective and you need to be very fair to see what happens, to see, to check many kind of many kind of different different point of view. For example, who is more important for the company, who is right, who is much better with the core value of the company, something like that. And you need to, as I see, you need to make a final choice, because when they conflict now, and when you have to solve that, it doesn't mean that they won't get a conflict in the future. So your solutions, your approach in that case need to be very, very soft and very sensitive. So you need to see what happens, and you need to choose by yourself an optimal choice to solve that problem. I don't have any how to say, I don't have a direct conflict. I just have several advice that you need to check the problem really careful. You need to check the nature of the problem, and you need to figure out what happens between them. And the most important is that you need to keep your integrity and your dignity stable. It means that you need to be, in that case, you look like a judge, and you need to be fair, something. And because, how to say, when you solve that problem, it's not the problem between two people in the team. The other members in the team will watch what you do. So it's very sensitive in that case. So just check that and be fair and keep your integrity and dignity stable. This is my advice.
Yeah, thank you. I think it's a lot of questions right now. So maybe next question is for Boris. How do we translate the product vision into the daily practice for every department team? Boris?
Very good.
Boris. Yeah.
I would say, wait, Tink, would you mind muting? Otherwise,
It's okay.
I would say through principles, okay? The vision is something kind of abstract, okay? But the principles are not. So let's make an example. In your vision is, I want people to find a new motorbike quickly and buy it. And that's my vision, okay? So now let's imagine that your product has another feature, which is to sell a motorbike. So for some strange reason, the two are in conflict, okay? Are in conflict, and maybe your team thinks, okay, it's gonna be much easier to sell a motorbike now, but it's gonna be much harder to buy one. So if you put this principle and you say, the easiest way, the fastest way to buy a motorbike is my mission, this is how you are applying your vision to your product. So I would say that's it. It's the principles. That's in my opinion the answer. They must be stated already. It's something like if you create your own product manifesto and so on. It's something that people should really be confident with.
Okay, so maybe the next question is for Tony Le. So I have a question about web app products. My PM keeps updates to strategy and the UI UX, but we don't know how long the product can release. I start design a small part of product in the mid phase. In the mid of the begin phase, like conduct research, I think that if product is okay, both UI and functionality, it could release to anywhere. Then we can retrieve the data and upgrade it later. So how can you know when the product is ready for release? Yeah, but, yeah. Sorry.
Okay. Thank you for the very, very long question. I think in the past I issue the same problem like you experience right now, and this is my first product lesson. The product, what I learned about that is about release sooner, and the most important thing about time to market. When the customer launch to the customer buy it, the customer is there a lot of feedback, a lot of things that we can improve. But if we don't release to the market, we don't know about that. Everything you change is about that's on your assumption. It's not the real feedback from the market, real feedback from your customer. So one then no standard when you know a product is ready, but you may come with a subset of feature you can launch it. Just go ahead and launch it to the market and test the customer reaction, the market reaction about your product. You can start lean about that. Don't waste too much time on the development phase. Just launch it.
Yes, thank you. So the advice for me is running. Right. So the next question I think is for Minh. Okay, my team has senior Sheldon Cooper. Yeah. He always has issue with others in communication. So how do we solve the issue? Put him in communication skill course or fight him. Yeah.
I'm glad that, thank you, Trung Nguyen, for that question. And I'm glad that you used the term Sharon Cooper because I like Sharon Cooper a lot. Sharon Cooper a lot. I watch on 12 series of The Big Bang Theory. And as you have that kind of issue, it means that a very smart guy with a very lit and bad communication skills. So as your suggestions, you can't, I can tell you that you can't put him in a communication skill courses because he won't learn and he can't learn that. So it's useless. You can't find him because he's so smart. And he's so smart and he contributes a lot for your company. So you can't find him. So can't teach him, can't find him. What you can do, you will try to convince the other to accept him. It just looked like in the movie because all of the friends of Sheldon's friends, they accept him like he does, and they have relationship with him like he does. And how to say, we can I think that you have to convince the others that he has problem in communication. It doesn't mean that he's mean to people. He just don't have the ability to figure out what happens, something like that. So, and it is his weakness, and he have his strength about smartness and coding, something like that. So you can convince people that these people, the others are normal person with their strength and their weakness, and that Sharon guy has a strength and a weakness, and we we should not hate him because of his weakness, because he can't choose that. And as we instead of focusing on his weakness, we can focus on his strength, how he works so well, something like that. So you can, is in my advice, the thing that you can do is that you create, say, a relationship between other peoples and children, and that's the only way you can solve the problems. You can't. The only way you can solve the problems, and in new education, in the new education trend, we teach students to respect the differences between people. And as a normal people, the team will have different approach and also different opinion in comparing with children. And as Sheldon, very smart and very bad in communication skills, he has his differences too. So we need to teach, no, not we teach, we need to convince these people to respect the differences between each other. Sheldon need to respect the other people, and the other people need to respect Sheldon too. And I think that in that case, you as a leader, you can play a role of a mediator to not solve the problems, but you can facilitate the situation. You can improve the situations by convince the others, all of them, winning the others and sharing, to respect the differences between people. I hope that this idea can help you to improve the situation you're having, because you can't find him, I'm sure.
Yeah, thank Minh. So I think next question is only for you, because I think the communication issue. So the question is, my TM is know about technical, but my PO the PO has no experience in technical. What if the TM says product is not ready, but the PO with the knowledge in IT field listen to PM2? The lead is also following lead design, following the PM. It's in no way the product is released. So Minh, can you answer the question?
We can share this one.
Yeah.
Boris first.
Okay. It's common. It's very common. Okay. It's a condition of many companies where the CEO does not necessarily have the knowledge of the passion. Sometimes it's just the passion to learn, or that feeling, that kind of love for the product. So you find yourself having, if my understanding is right of the question, a PM which himself, he knows what he's talking about, okay, and a CEO and the PO, CEO and PO that have no experience in technical. So what if the PM said the product is not ready? Very likely, I would say the PM has knowledge about this and is talking, saying, knowing what he says, okay? Now, what happens when the CEO actually, who has no knowledge, tries to force, okay? I can tell you what happens because it happens to me. It's very easy. It happens to me regularly. So what happens? The product will not be released. No, the product will be released. Sure. The product will probably have 80% of the features you initially wanted to have. It will have probably 80% more bugs than you expected to have. And it's gonna cost very likely 30–40% more than it was budgeted at the beginning, probably. That's it. Then the difference is if all of if the PM is good about technical, and the CEO is good about technical, and the PO is good about technical, then it can be a choice, okay? It can be a choice because, as Tony was saying before, it was saying, don't spend too much time on development. Go develop something which is feasible, which is good, fairly good, present it to the public, you're gonna improve it later. So I totally agree with what Tony said. The point here is when you got somebody who is not technical at all? What if it's somebody who tells you, I don't need a master admin? Who needs a master admin? Nobody. I don't know, you're selling, you sell products, your CEO doesn't know either about technology or about logic, and he says, yeah, but we don't need any invoicing feature. So we're gonna sell, how do we get paid, okay? So you got like cases like this. That's very bad. That's very, very bad. Now, if it is a choice which is like risking a little, some technical guys who risk a little to go faster, get the right time to market, and then they know that, okay, we're gonna patch it later, it's fine. But if the decision comes straight from the top and the top has no idea about technical, then it's very likely it's still gonna be released, but it's gonna be much more hard and slow and painful. Generally, that's what I have been experiencing, at least. I don't know, Tony, maybe you also have like experiences like this or something.
I will tell you some fact. When we launch first version of our app, we still have 500 bugs on our backlog. 500 bugs. That's all. That's okay. That's okay. Unless we launch the product, we have 500 trips in the first day. That's an achievement we know that our customer have experienced bad thing in the first day, but we are improving that. And right now it's about 2 years our app, and it much more stable, and no one complained about that. No one remember about that time, that hard time. So I think just go ahead and launch it.
Yeah, it's true. We live in a world where there is no memory. Everything is now and today. So this negative review of today might be a good one at the next release. I am the first one. I had been posting twice a review, 1 star and 5 stars for Aeroflot app. And when they had like the previous version, I had to give them 1 star. With the new one, I had to go back and publicly write, guys, you did a great job. This is a like big improvement, and go for that. Excellent. But yeah, it's clearly the work of people who is in love with tech. Okay, so I think that's like compared to some cases where you got maybe no love for tech or something like that.
What about you, Minh? Do you have any comment?
No, I don't have any comments because this is a very technical problem, and I think Boris gave a good ideas and opinion on that.
Yeah. So I have a question for you, Minh and Boris. Do you think or see the major difference between product leadership in startup, NME, and a big corp? It has. Could you have give us some example? Do you understand the question?
Where is the questions?
Product leadership. Okay, yeah. Major differences between product leadership in startup SMEs and large companies. you wanna, who starts?
Yeah.
Minh, who starts? You go, I go.
You start.
Okay. Do I see differences? Yeah, I see differences. I don't see, obviously, I don't see many differences between a startup and an SME, or compared to a large company. Usually, I verified, like, I talk about tech startups, okay? Like companies where like it's really love for the code, love for digital environment, and so on. So wait 1 second, I have to drop a call. So yeah, the difference is who is the product leader, okay? Often is who is the product leader. In a startup, it's gonna be the CEO, who sometimes is the CEO and the CTO, who is has an idea in his mind since a long time, has been thinking about it, finally got that budget which is enough to go, and therefore is able to have maybe a small team of people and transmit his leadership and create this kind of leadership feeling where actually you get good results. SMEs, that's we are in the middle, I would say. We fall into the previous case, my opinion. You may have these SME in love with tech, that SME not in love with tech. You might have the CEO who has no knowledge about tech, but wants to bring the vision, the strategy, the business model, and so on, but maybe is lacking like essential parts of the game. Okay, it's really like lacking big parts of the techniques to transmit this leadership. And sometimes it's just gonna be like can be an SME where you got the product guy, and the product guy tends to have only the CEO to deal with, and it's okay. In big companies, it depends on how, in my opinion, how good they are. They got old, and how old they are. Okay, you got big companies who got old very bad, and that basically there is no leadership. Okay, it's really like it's just a group of people where people does something because they are told of, and they were sitting there since the last 10 years, and that's the way it is. You got the, let's say, the modern big corporations where it is actually the product leadership is everywhere, because they've been able to create this atmosphere inside the teams, that no matter they have 100,000 employees, you get in, you feel special, you feel like they're teaching you, you feel like you are improving, and this way, even though your tasks are much smaller, okay? Because when you work in a big corp, you have your small square, stay there, don't do anything else. It's not like in my position like now, where I have to take care of production, I have to take care of mock-ups, I have to take care of like thinking about the next feature together with the CTO and so on. So you do less, but they make you feel empowered, and make you feel empowered is what I was saying before. Is like, I feel cool, I feel like I've been learning, I feel no matter today I did just working this little square, I feel good, and I feel I have been doing a great job. So yeah, I think that this would be the biggest difference in my opinion. Big ones depends on their age and the way they got old. Small ones more flexible, more related to just the personality of a couple of members.
What about you, Minh?
I think that Boris is right when he said that there's that there's not many differences between startup and SME, and as the differences, as I know, I'm not in IT, but as I know the differences between large company and startup or SME is that in large company the processes is harder, how to say, is heavier, and it takes more times to do the same thing than in startup or SME. That's I'm sure. For example, the financial process or the product approval process, something like that, or marketing process. It takes more times than in startup and SME, and it's not only take more times, you will have less freedom to do that by yourself, by your ideas. You will have less freedom to do that too. So these are the point that I insist that we need to pay attention when we want to do something in the two different conditions.
Thank you. So I think maybe now is the last question now, because the time to enter the event. So the last question is about Tony. It's the same question with Minh and Boris. So do you think what is the most different thing between experience management in startup, SME, and big corp? Can you get it some example about it?
I think there are a lot of different in the execution, because when you work in a startup SME, you have limited resource to do that. But when you work in a larger company, a big company, you have a dedicated team to do deeper research, to do wider research on that. So that's different on the execution. That's my opinion.
Okay, thank Minh, Tony, Boris, and everyone enjoying the event today. So I think we had a great moment today to share our knowledge, and discuss a lot of things today. So all thank you for all the speaker today, and have a good night, and see you on for the next meeting of ProductTank Hanoi. Yeah.
Which will not be the next product day in 1 year. It's gonna be much before. We're gonna keep you posted so that you can join us for the next.
See you.
See you. Thank you for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.